Hi, YouTube. Welcome to our Robinson Lloyd Resiliency Group channel where we provide data insights for companies to get an edge to help their students improve their success, improve their ability to adapt to stress and to connect. This morning, I am very, very excited to have a representative from Fraternity Brands, Jason Burke. He's actually built his company ground up, and I'm excited to have him on because we support resilience. We support other companies. We support our community. And you're going to be able to link with Jason and to connect. This is a global environment. It doesn't matter where you are, if you're in Trinidad and Tobago, if you're in Canada, if you're in the USA, please link with Jason. The links will be provided below. Jason, the floor is yours.
Hello, how are you, Tonia? Thank you for having me.
Doing good.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm gonna get my energy up. I'm just waking up, but I'm gonna get it up. I promise.
So, Jason, just tell us a little bit about your brand, Fraternity Brand. Like, where did it all start?
It's a long story, but I'm gonna try to tell it as short and as sweet as I possibly can. So before I went on this journey for fraternity, I had another clothing brand called Rep, and that's how me and Tonia kind of met. Foreshadowing. Um, the journey of that, I kind of grew out of the style of Rep, what it was, and I kind of evolved that same concept into the fraternity. So long story short, I've been on this journey since I was 16. Now I'm in a cut and sew business more than just printing t-shirts, and loving every moment of it.
Wow, 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 wow. I know one of the things we talk about, we kind of reminisce on and laugh at, with respect, of course, is when you said that you would, be on a bus for 4 hours, right, to come to the course, right, the youth entrepreneurship program, right? What was like you have like such a huge drive. That is what I admire about you. Like you have like this passion, that you're going to do what you have to do no matter what the costs, right? And to me, that's resilience, right? Just sort of this determination to do what you have to do, right? And I want for you, because we have a lot of younger people on this channel and families that may be wanting to start their own businesses and, just trying to figure out what are the costs involved. Could you tell us a little bit about just your your journey, like the stuff that's kind of, you know, not so pleasant, like the 4 hour trips, but what sort of mindset, in other words, do you have to just build a company ground up?
You just gotta have that. You have to have a persistence like no other, because the no and get the no, you gotta get used to no and failure and pivoting and waking up stressed and being happy 1 second and just being completely stressed out the other second because like you just got some news that changed everything. You're like, oh no. And you gotta be quick on your feet, be able to problem solve and be creative, like figure out how to stretch a budget. Like, yeah, corporate people have budgets that are unlimited, but usually small businesses do not.
Yeah.
And you are wearing every hat in that company. You are the CEO, the
Yep.
prestigious CEO, but you're also the janitor who's cleaning the toilet.
Yep.
So, being humble and understanding that. But like, I guess, I give you more on my story. Like, Tonia used to run a program at the YMCA in it was like Markham, so Canada, Toronto, and it was a youth entrepreneur program. So it was like teaching us how to basically start a business plan, build a business plan, and again basically flush out our business idea in the concept. And I lived on the other end of the city, and I didn't drive. Not even the other end of the city. I lived in a whole different part of the GTA, and the 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 bus service there was very, let's say, not very good. So sometimes we would have like an hour session, and I would have to take a bus basically 2.5 hours one way, and then the same thing back,
Oh man.
and the same thing back. But like, at that time, I learned how to use that bus ride productively. Like I did work on the bus, read a lot of books at that time. Rich Dad Poor Dad, How to Be an Automatic Millionaire, a bunch of books. I did most of my reading ever in my life on those bus rides. So just found a way to make that dead time efficient time at least. Um, so back onto being persistent is like I've been doing this clothing thing since I was basically 16, and had success in the first brand, Rep, and did a complete pivot out of nowhere where I completely stopped Rep and just started doing a new brand, Fraternity, because I just fell in love with cut and sew, being able to be super creative with fabrics. And I've been on something that I thought would take me like a couple months to be able to learn and flip this switch from going from printing t-shirts to making garments, was a process that was a lot longer than I thought. For the last let's say 3-4 years, I kind of been teaching myself how to sew, how to go into production, and so on and so forth. Because going to manufacturers and trying to bring them your ideas, yeah, it's cool. It's easy to draw a picture on a piece of paper and say, "Oh, this is my design." It's a whole nother thing to be able to make that. Learning lessons early, thinking that I could just take my sketches to a manufacturer and get it made, and keep it going, just like I was doing with the t-shirt brand. But no, it didn't work like that. And understanding, okay, right, yeah, they can do it, but costs that are associating with that happening, the process, and how long it takes to get it what you see in your mind to a physical physical piece. It's like completely different. And hearing the numbers they were throwing at me to get these things done, I was like, no. No, you see how my bank account works? It does not make those numbers. So
Not
teaching
yet.
myself, teaching myself how to do what they do,
Yeah.
because at this point, like, school was never a thing for me. So I bought a textbook. It was my first textbook I ever bought, and I remember going to Indigo and being like, "Okay, I need this book," and seeing the price of a textbook and be like, "This book is $100." And then talking to my friends who go to school and go, "Oh, that's a really cheap book." I'm like, happy I didn't go to school. That book and YouTube, just sat there in a room and taught myself. Didn't lock myself in there, and just kept teaching myself, making mistakes, making mistakes. Now I'm at the point where I can do what the manufacturers were charging me a lot of money to do, and basically I can just tell them to copy what I've already made. So my vision would be done, and I can give them the product, and they can basically mass produce what I've created.
Wow.
I had to learn
Wow.
that process, and that was a journey in itself.
Wow. Incredible. And I see that you're wearing the Fraternity brand. Tell us, about your vision
Always.
for that brand.
So Fraternity Brand. So like I said, when I went from Rep, it was always a community based. Like, Rep was a community thing, representing everyone in place. That was what Rep stood for. Um, Initially, I wanted to continue Rep because I already had a name. It already had the customers and all that. But every time I was thinking of what I was trying to evolve into, it didn't
Mm.
fit. It didn't fit into the branding I've made for Rep. So with that being said, the fraternity was born, and it was, again, a community. I was going to be mainly men's clothing. So the concept was to build a community of fashionable gentlemen,
Mm.
right? Um, and then I kept going back and forth. I'm like, what's the name? What's the name? And the fraternity was, the perfect name. It stuck in the logo, or the Celtic knot is what I call it. It's the fraternity knot. It is a Celtic knot. And
Oh,
what I was when I was coming up with the logo, I was trying to think of brotherhood and like what symbols that represent that. And Celtic knot came up on my Google search. I kept looking, and it kept coming up, and I was just like, I like it. Like, it's a knot. It's together. It's one. So
yeah.
that's where the fraternity knot came from. So then that process took a while. It took like 3 months to come up with that logo, because
Wow.
I put that much thought into it. And then, with that being said, started making clothes, cut and sew, because I was trying to. I found a fabric store in Toronto called Affordable Textiles. Made a great relationship with the owners, and just fell in love with fabric and how they explain fabric.
Yeah.
Um, like like at the end of the day, if a fabric store gets 50 yards of a fabric, a particular fabric, and you go there and see it, say 4 people go there and see it. One person buys 4 yards, another person buys 6 yards, another person buys 10 yards. You're left with 30 yards. And then I come in as a designer and I buy the last 30 yards. The first couple people could have made so much different things with that piece of material. They could have made a bag, they could have turned it into curtains, they could have turned it into a whole bunch of things, right? So
Yeah.
now that 30 yards might be only able to make, let's say, 10, 20 units. So now that there's only 10, 20 units of that particular item in that particular material in the world. So that becomes actually art at that point. So like I
Yeah.
started falling in love. I started falling, I'm like, yeah, if you really think about it, like that's rare. Like there's gonna be 20 people in this world that have that.
Right.
And then I remember buying a fabric from the fabric store. I made a jacket out of it. And then I was watching a TV show and I seen it on like a character on a TV show, and they made a vest out of the same material. I was like, oh, that's crazy. And so like I just felt I like, again, I went into, I was, as Tonia knows me, I'm more of I was always had a business mind. That's always been, my mindset since I was very, very young. And so when I got into the fashion and get into the fabric store, I started to think of it more of an art, and it kind of changed the way I was going about running the business, which is kind of detrimental because you're not thinking of it as a business now. It's really a passion. So like you're spending money you shouldn't be spending. Like you're
Right.
doing details that, most average person is not going to see, but you know what? I got to add that detail. Right. So,
Yeah.
and fed in love with like finishing and how things are done. Like, so I kind of OD'd on manufacturing technique and how things are done, to the point where I wasn't even paying attention what's going on in the market. I would go into a store, look at stuff and be like, they're selling this for this much? Oh my God. And I'm
Right.
looking at, when I look at garment, I don't look at it as a regular person. I actually turn it inside out right away. I want to see what
Right.
it looks like inside. I want to look how they can construct it. I want to see how it's finished. I'll be
Yeah.
looking at something like, there's no way they're selling this for this. And now I kind of went on a rant. I apologize. But yeah.
No,
Um,
no, I love it. In fact, I want you to show us your, it looks like a hoodie, but the
it is
material
a hoodie.
has like a glow to it.
Ooh, you can see it. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's really, so now it's hard in this new world of internet buying. It's hard to really market my brand because my thing's all about fabrics and feels. So this
Yeah.
is actually, it's hard again because you're never gonna be able to touch it on the screen. It's actually a double suede. So
A
when you
double
put it on,
suede?
yeah. So it's a stretchy
Oh,
suede, and then it also has like some sparkles in it in the
yeah, I
material,
see that.
paint
Can we see,
sparkles
can
and
we see what you're stitching? Let's
um.
just tick it off. Let's see, let's see.
I don't know if we're in that kind of show, but let's hold on. All right. So then you have the the bottom rib.
Yeah,
Oh, it's kind of chilly out here, but the bottom rib
yeah.
has I call this, okay. So I'll even give you one more explanation about this garment in itself.
Okay.
When I make my silhouettes, at first I was designing and I didn't know what to call them. I didn't want to call them a regular hoodie. You want to,
Yeah,
especially in marketing and branding, you want to give special names, like, the Jordan 1. Like, companies will name things and give them names. It helps with marketing and branding.
yeah.
So that was going to be hard for me. So what I thought of, an idea I thought of was to name pieces after people in my life that inspire me, or just or friends and family, kind of like paying homage. So
Yeah.
this tracksuit is actually called the Bishop tracksuit. So there's a pair of pants, there's a whole,
Oh,
I don't even call them tracksuits, I call them track sets because there's a bunch of different pieces to go with it. So
wow.
this is called the Bishop track set, and this is named after one of my best friends.
Yeah, I know, Bishop.
And yeah, exactly. So yeah, the big track set, and yeah, we have like details. So if you look closely on the string,
Yeah,
Celtic, the knot is where they get it. That's the fraternity knot on the string.
yeah.
Um, we got the fraternity knot up on the top of the hood. Fraternity Toronto all over. So it's like
Nice.
little
Yeah.
details that we paid attention to. So now for the inside. Dun, 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 dun. So the inside, everything is serged, clean finishing.
Nice.
No,
Yeah.
so
Well, we
And then
don't
I
want you to
also,
catch a cold, so you could go
yeah,
ahead and put it back on.
yeah, like as you can tell, I get very passionate about like the details and things. So
Yeah,
like I can talk about
and I know Tio is cold. It's cold in Canada, right? It should be the
it,
summertime, but
it, it's a chilly morning right now, but I am in the shade. I'm not gonna lie.
it will warm up. So I guess what's next in the next, I don't know, 10 days. I think you were telling me about your fashion show. So let's tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, I have a fashion show that I'm planning for the 28th of August. It's gonna be my first time ever putting on a fashion show. Um, kind of nervous, but at the same time excited
Yeah.
um, to present this. We're doing it at a studio called Object Studio in Toronto, in Stockyards area. So it's gonna be, we're calling it the Fashion Brunch. So it's gonna be a fashion show and a brunch at the same time.
Yeah.
Performances, live band, and just try to make a nice atmosphere and vibe for the event. Um,
Nice.
we're still in the planning stages. We've seen the venue, started planning out the layout and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited.
Me too. So I saw some of your colors. I loved your colors. What inspired? It was like really bright green and really bright orange. What inspired your theme for the fashion event?
To be honest with you, fabric store. Like my process of designing and making clothes is literally going to the fabric store, seeing the fabrics, and then letting the fabric speak to me. Like the fabric is gonna tell me what to be made. Like
Oh
this is
wow.
for the most part.
Yeah.
One of the pieces you've seen where it's a windbreaker, but a waterproof windbreaker I call it the Paddington because it just reminds me of Paddington Bear.
Hmm.
Um, and when I went to the fabric store, they have this material that's a waterproof, a breathable nylon, meaning that it lets air in, but it also stops water from coming in, which is not doesn't really make sense because if something is not airproof, the water can come through. And
Hmm.
usually, when you have a nylon or a raincoat, when you put it on and if a day is humid and it's still raining, you get really hot inside because no air comes. This is a
Yeah.
windbreaker that um this is a windbreaker that lets air in. But anyways, long story short, that material was at the time only available. Actually, let me bring back the story. So when I first started fraternity and I was planning on making silhouettes, that the Paddington jacket was one of the first pieces I came up with. Um,
Oh.
at the time when the fabric store, they had the material in a bunch of colors. They had black, they had all the colors that you would want, but that was about 4 years ago. So when I went back to the fabric store to now, like now that I solidified the concept and was able to actually produce it the way I wanted it, they only had the lime green and the orange.
Yeah.
So it just happened to be those colors at the
Oh,
time. um we have ordered the other colors, so those are coming in. So yeah,
nice.
it's it like I said, to answer your question, long story short, it's the fabric talks to me. I don't really say, yo, I'm going with a purple this year. I go to the fabric store and the fabric store says, yo, this is what's happening.
Oh, that's amazing. I see, just like a Louis Vuitton just exploding all over the globe, right? With communities that want to support this, Celtic bond, this unity, this, together we could accomplish anything kind of feeling,
Yeah,
right? So,
that's what
and it's like I always love the African saying, you born to I am because you are. Right. And I think that's beautiful. Like once we could actually see that, we have so much more power and so much more to be able to give once we could do it together. So,
yeah.
so
And
thank you. Thank you
oh,
so
thank
much.
you. This was amazing.
Yes, it was. It really was. So, tell us how people could get in touch with you and how they could pay for your event.
So Instagram Fraternity Brand.
Okay.
That would be the Instagram Fraternity
Okay.
Brand. Website is fraternitybrand.ca. That would be the website. And if you follow the Instagram, the information for the fashion show will be posted there. Also, you can sign up for the mailing list, which you just go to the website, and as soon as you go to the website, there's a mailing list that will pop up. Sign up for that, and you can also basically get the email blast.
Nice. Nice. All right. So I would put the links below this video as well so that people could connect with you and just continue being inspirational, Jason. Like, it's amazing what you're doing, ground up. Like, you bought a textbook, sat there, taught yourself. Now you have this amazing product. Just keep going, man. Keep
Thank you.
going.
Thank you.
All right. So it's a wrap. We'll see you next
Bye,
time.
everyone. Later.
Later.